It was supposed to be a routine evening, just another shift from the grind of my daily grind. Exhausted from work, I trudged through the front door, craving nothing more than a quiet night at home. But what awaited me was anything but ordinary. As I entered my study, a space I only used sporadically, I noticed a new folder on my computer's desktop. It was an unusual sight. I never left files there, especially not ones that weren't my own. Driven by an unsettling curiosity, I clicked on it, oblivious to the storm I was about to unleash. The screen came to life, revealing a series of videos I never expected to see. There was Megan, my wife, in an unmistakably intimate setting. She was surrounded by a group of men, engaged in activities that left no room for misinterpretation. My hands trembled as I tried to make sense of the scene unfolding before my eyes. The room was lavish, clearly not our home, and the actions taking place were far beyond anything I could have imagined. Panic surged through me. I tried to convince myself it was a mistake, a poorly executed prank or a digital fabrication. But the more I watched, the clearer it became. This was real. The video didn't lie. It was Megan, and she was betraying everything we had built together. Desperation drove me to double-check every detail. I scoured the video for any sign of deception, but found none. The confirmation was suffocating. It was her, without a doubt. I felt a wave of disorientation crash over me, my thoughts spinning wildly as I tried to process this shocking revelation. Determined to confront the reality of the situation, I texted Megan, summoning her home with a cold efficiency that belied my inner turmoil. I knew that the conversation awaiting us would be excruciating, but the need for answers outweighed my fear of the confrontation. When Megan arrived, the tension was palpable. The moment she saw me, she knew something was gravely wrong. Without a word, I handed her the remote and pressed play. The footage played out once more, and her face fell as she watched. The shock in her eyes quickly turned to tears, and she crumbled under the weight of her guilt. "I'm sorry," she managed to say through her sobs, her voice barely audible. She began to explain, saying it was the result of our distant marriage and her emotional needs being unmet. Her explanations were an attempt to make sense of her actions, but they felt inadequate against the gravity of what I had seen. As Megan's words floated in the air, I struggled with the intense feelings of betrayal and loss. Her apologies were a mere whisper against the thunderous reality of our fractured trust. As we sat in the aftermath of her confession, I was left grappling with the enormity of the situation and the uncertain future that now lay before us. The hours that followed were a blur of emotion and confusion. Megan's apologies echoed through the house, but they did little to calm the storm inside me. Her explanations were a weak attempt to rationalize what had happened, but they only deepened my anguish. The betrayal felt like a heavy weight pressing down on me, making it hard to breathe or think clearly. As the shock began to wane, I found myself desperate for answers. I needed to understand how long this had been going on and who these men were. I began to scrutinize every detail, searching for clues that could piece together the timeline of Megan's infidelity. The first step was to question Megan further. Her initial reluctance soon gave way to reluctant admissions. She mentioned that the affair had started a few months ago, a fact that was as painful as it was bewildering. One of the men, she confessed, was a co-worker named David, while another, a former lover named Ryan, had reappeared in her life. The more Megan spoke, the more I realized the extent of her deceit. I asked for names, places, and any information that might help me understand this betrayal. Each answer only seemed to deepen the wound. The details of her encounters, the places she visited, and the men she had involved were all part of a painful puzzle that I struggled to piece together. I began to search through Megan's phone and social media accounts, hoping to find more evidence, or perhaps some form of explanation that could help me make sense of this nightmare. Her messages and photos painted a clear picture of a relationship that had gone far beyond what she had admitted. Each discovery felt like another jab to my already wounded heart. The confrontation with Megan was emotionally draining. Her remorse was evident, but it did little to mitigate the pain I felt. Her attempts to explain her actions were filled with emotional justifications and apologies, but they could not erase the fact that our marriage had been profoundly damaged. Amid this turmoil, I sought solace in friends and family. I needed to talk, to share the weight of this revelation with those who cared about me. Their support was invaluable, providing me with different perspectives and a semblance of comfort in an otherwise agonizing situation. The advice I received varied, but the consensus was clear. I needed to take time to process what had happened and consider my next steps carefully. The prospect of divorce loomed on the horizon, but it was a decision I was not yet ready to make. For now, I focused on understanding the full scope of Megan's betrayal and gathering the strength to face the future. The days that followed were a blur of emotional upheaval and soul-searching. Each day brought new realizations and a deeper understanding of the extent of Megan's infidelity. The road ahead was uncertain, but I knew that I had to confront this painful truth head-on and find a way to navigate the wreckage of my once secure life. The days after Megan's confession were a whirlwind of emotion and uncertainty. Each morning I woke up hoping that the nightmare was over, only to be reminded of the harsh reality. My mind was consumed with thoughts of what to do next and how to process the betrayal that had shattered my life. The first major step was to confront Megan with the full extent of her actions. The more I delved into the details, the clearer it became that this was not just a fleeting affair, but a series of encounters that had spanned several months. I needed answers and closure, something concrete that could help me make sense of the wreckage. We sat down together one evening, the tension in the room palpable. I laid out all the information I had gathered, texts, dates, and names. The conversation was painful, filled with tears and raised voices. Megan attempted to defend her actions, citing emotional neglect and dissatisfaction in our marriage. She spoke of feeling unappreciated and unloved, but her reasons did little to soothe my wounded heart. The more Megan talked, the more I struggled with my emotions. Her explanations seemed to come from a place of genuine remorse, yet they did little to mitigate the depth of her betrayal. It was clear that the emotional connection she had with these men had significantly affected our relationship. Amid this confrontation, we both faced the reality that our marriage was at a crossroads. Megan wanted to work things out, to rebuild what we had lost, but I was uncertain. The trust that once formed the foundation of our relationship was irreparably damaged, and I found myself questioning whether it was even possible to rebuild it. I took some time to reflect on the situation, seeking advice from close friends and family. Their perspectives ranged from encouraging reconciliation to suggesting a clean break. This range of opinions only added to my confusion. I was torn between the desire to salvage our marriage and the realization that moving forward might be the only way to truly heal. Meanwhile, Megan continued to express her desire to mend things. She agreed to attend couples therapy and made efforts to demonstrate her commitment to change. Yet, despite her attempts to make amends, I remained guarded, unsure if I could ever fully trust her again. The process of deciding our future was slow and fraught with emotional turmoil. I found myself swinging between hope and despair, questioning whether our relationship was worth saving or if it was better to part ways. Megan's actions left a scar that was not easily healed, and every interaction was a reminder of the pain and betrayal I had experienced. Ultimately, the path forward was unclear. The road to reconciliation seemed daunting, fraught with the risk of reopening old wounds. Yet, the possibility of rebuilding something from the ashes of our past remained. As we navigated this uncertain terrain, I held on to the hope that, in time, clarity would come, and I would be able to make a decision that was right for both of us. As the days turned into weeks, I found myself increasingly consumed by the need to understand the full scope of Megan's betrayal. The emotional roller coaster was taking its toll, and I was desperate for any semblance of clarity. I needed to piece together the timeline of her infidelity and uncover every detail that could shed light on how and why this happened. The first step was to delve deeper into Megan's social media accounts and phone records. I hoped to find more concrete evidence, or perhaps some form of explanation, that could make sense of the chaos. I reviewed her messages, photos, and contact lists, trying to piece together the puzzle of her recent actions. Megan had mentioned two key individuals in her affair: David, a co-worker, and Ryan, a former lover. I decided to investigate further into their backgrounds. My search led me to discover that David was someone Megan had developed a close working relationship with, and Ryan was someone she had dated briefly before we met. It became evident that both men had a significant emotional impact on her, and their reappearance in her life had played a role in the unfolding drama. The more I uncovered, the more I realized the extent of Megan's emotional entanglement with these men. David and Ryan weren't just passing figures, they were deeply embedded in the narrative of her recent months. The communication between them and Megan was frequent and intimate, highlighting a level of involvement that went far beyond a mere fling. I confronted Megan with this new information. Her reaction was a mixture of shame and defensiveness. She admitted that her connection with David had started as a friendship, but had gradually turned into something more. Ryan's re-entry into her life had been a catalyst, reigniting old feelings and leading her to make choices she deeply regretted. The revelations were painful. Each piece of information added to the emotional burden I was carrying. The affair had not been a spontaneous act. It was a series of decisions and emotional investments that Megan had made over time. It was clear that there had been a significant disconnect between us, and Megan had sought solace in these relationships. I decided to take a step back and seek professional guidance. I reached out to a therapist who specialized in marital issues and infidelity. The sessions were a crucial part of my journey, providing me with tools to navigate my emotions and the fallout of Megan's actions. The therapist helped me process my feelings of betrayal, anger, and sadness, and offered strategies to cope with the overwhelming situation. Throughout this period, Megan made efforts to be transparent and open about her actions. She agreed to attend individual therapy to address the issues that had led her to seek comfort elsewhere. Her willingness to engage in therapy was a sign of her commitment, but it was also a reminder of the work that lay ahead. As I continued to sift through the details and seek answers, I was confronted with the harsh reality that the road to recovery was long and fraught with challenges. The emotional scars were deep, and the process of rebuilding trust seemed daunting. Despite Megan's efforts in the therapy sessions, I remained uncertain about the future. The search for answers was a painful but necessary part of the healing process. Each discovery and each conversation brought me closer to understanding the full extent of the betrayal. It was a journey through a maze of emotions and revelations, and while I hoped for clarity, I knew that the path forward would require time, patience, and a willingness to confront the painful truths of our fractured relationship. Weeks had passed since the revelations came to light, and the weight of Megan's betrayal still hung heavily over us. The emotional roller coaster of seeking answers and attempting to process the depth of her infidelity had left me drained and unsure. The time had come to confront the reality of our situation and make a decision about our future. Megan had been earnest in her efforts to repair our relationship. She attended therapy sessions regularly and made significant changes in her behavior. She was more open about her feelings and tried to address the issues that had led to the affair. Yet, despite her attempts, the trust that had once defined our marriage was still fractured. I found myself at a crossroads. On one hand, there was a part of me that wanted to believe in the possibility of reconciliation. Megan's commitment to change and her genuine remorse provided a glimmer of hope that perhaps we could rebuild what had been lost. On the other hand, the pain of betrayal was so profound that it was difficult to envision a future where trust could be fully restored. Amid this internal conflict, I decided to take a more structured approach to our decision-making. I began by listing the pros and cons of staying together versus parting ways. It was a practical exercise, but also an emotional one, as it forced me to confront the full impact of Megan's actions and the reality of our relationship. The pros of reconciliation included the potential to heal together and the history we had shared. We had built a life and a future together, and there was something deeply compelling about the idea of working through this pain and emerging stronger as a couple. Megan's willingness to work on her issues and the support from therapy added weight to this perspective. However, the cons were significant. The betrayal had created a deep wound that could not be easily mended. Trust, once broken, is incredibly difficult to restore, and the emotional scars from the affair were still fresh. The fear of repeated betrayal and the ongoing emotional strain were substantial barriers to moving forward together. I sought advice from friends and family, hoping to gain perspective and clarity. Their insights varied, with some encouraging me to fight for our relationship and others suggesting that a clean break might be the healthier option. The range of opinions only added to my confusion, highlighting the complexity of the decision I faced. In addition to external advice, I turned inward to assess my own needs and feelings. I spent time reflecting on what I wanted for my future, considering both the possibility of reconciliation and the prospect of moving on. it became clear that I needed to prioritize my own well-being and emotional health. After much contemplation and discussion with Megan, I made the difficult decision to end our marriage. The choice was not made lightly, and it was driven by the realization that, despite Megan's efforts and my desire to heal, the trust that had been shattered was too great to repair. The ongoing pain and uncertainty were factors I could no longer ignore. The decision to divorce was both a relief and a profound sadness. It marked the end of a chapter that had been filled with shared experiences and dreams, but it also opened the door to a new beginning. Megan and I agreed to work together to make the transition as smooth as possible, focusing on practical matters such as the division of assets and the emotional well-being of both parties. As I embarked on this new chapter, I knew that the road ahead would be challenging. The process of healing and moving on would take time, but I was committed to finding a path that would lead to personal growth and peace. The decision to part ways was a painful one, but it was also a necessary step toward rebuilding my life and finding a new sense of stability and happiness. With the decision to divorce made, the focus now shifted to navigating the aftermath and confronting the future. The transition from being a couple to living separate lives was both daunting and liberating. There was a mixture of relief from the end of an emotionally tumultuous period and the challenge of adapting to a new reality. The initial steps were practical: dividing our assets, finalizing the legal paperwork, and managing the logistics of our separation. Megan and I worked together to ensure that the process was as smooth as possible, recognizing that our interactions were now reduced to matters of formality and necessity. We both wanted to avoid any further conflict and make the transition easier. During this period, I found solace in reaching out to friends and family. Their support was invaluable, providing me with a sense of grounding and perspective. Conversations with them helped me process my feelings and gain clarity about my next steps. The support network became crucial as I faced the challenges of starting over. The emotional journey was more complex. I grappled with feelings of loss and grief over the end of our marriage. The memories of our time together, both the happy moments and the painful ones, weighed heavily on my mind. It was a process of mourning not just the relationship, but also the future that I had envisioned with Megan. I also sought individual therapy to help navigate this new phase of my life. The sessions provided a safe space to explore my emotions and develop coping strategies. The therapist guided me through the process of rebuilding my self-esteem and understanding the impact of the past on my current state. It was a necessary step for personal growth and healing. As I began to embrace my new independence, I found that the freedom to make my own choices was both exhilarating and intimidating. I started to explore new hobbies and interests, trying to rediscover aspects of myself that had been overshadowed by the marriage. This journey of self-discovery was empowering and allowed me to envision a future that was uniquely my own. Dating again was an eventual step, but it came with its own set of challenges. I was cautious and aware of the emotional baggage I carried and the need to be honest with potential partners. The process of meeting new people and exploring new relationships was a learning experience, reminding me of the importance of trust and communication. Throughout this period, I also focused on creating a stable environment for myself. I made changes to my living space, surrounding myself with things that brought comfort and joy. Establishing a new routine and setting personal goals helped me regain a sense of control and purpose. While the path forward was still unfolding, I began to feel a renewed sense of hope. The process of rebuilding and moving on was gradual, but each step brought me closer to a new chapter in my life. I accepted that healing would take time and that there would be ups and downs along the way. The key was to stay focused on the positive changes and the possibilities that lay ahead. Facing the future after such a significant life change was both challenging and transformative. It required resilience and a willingness to embrace the unknown. As I navigated this new phase, I remained committed to personal growth and finding happiness in the journey ahead. The end of my marriage marked the beginning of a new chapter, one filled with the potential for renewal and self-discovery. The months following the decision to divorce were a period of adjustment and renewal. I had made significant strides in adapting to my new life, but the process of rebuilding was ongoing. The end of my marriage had opened the door to new possibilities, and I was determined to embrace them with an open heart. One of the first steps in this journey was to create a new routine. I found comfort in establishing daily habits that were entirely my own. Morning walks, regular exercise, and a new diet became integral parts of my day. These changes not only improved my physical well-being, but also provided a sense of stability and purpose. With my new routine in place, I began to explore activities that I had once set aside. I rediscovered old hobbies and found new interests that brought me joy. Photography, which I had always enjoyed but never had time for, became a significant outlet for my creativity. I started taking weekend trips to capture the beauty of different landscapes, and the process of learning and experimenting with new techniques was both therapeutic and fulfilling. Socializing with friends and family continued to be an essential part of my healing process. Reconnecting with people who had supported me during the divorce provided a sense of community and belonging. I attended gatherings, joined new social groups, and actively sought opportunities to engage with others. These interactions helped me rebuild my social life and reminded me of the value of meaningful connections. As I moved forward, I also took time to reflect on the lessons learned from my previous relationship. I recognized the importance of communication, trust, and emotional intimacy in any future relationship. Understanding my own needs and boundaries became a priority, and I was committed to applying these insights to future interactions. Dating again was a new chapter in my life. I approached it with a mix of excitement and caution. Meeting new people and building connections was both exhilarating and daunting. I made a conscious effort to be open and honest about my past experiences while remaining hopeful about the future. Each date was a learning experience, helping me understand more about what I wanted in a partner and a relationship. The process of dating also gave me a new perspective on love and relationships. I learned to appreciate the small moments of connection and the importance of mutual respect and understanding. It was a journey of self-discovery and growth, and each new experience contributed to my evolving outlook on life. As I continued to explore new relationships and friendships, I focused on personal goals and aspirations. I set new professional objectives and pursued opportunities for growth in my career. This focus on personal development and achievement provided a sense of direction and fulfillment. The journey of rebuilding my life after the divorce was ongoing, but it was marked by a growing sense of optimism and resilience. Each day brought new opportunities and challenges, and I embraced them with a renewed sense of purpose. The end of my marriage had been a profound turning point, and I was determined to make the most of the new beginnings it had brought. In embracing this new chapter, I learned to appreciate the value of self-care and the importance of pursuing a life that was true to my desires and goals. The process of moving on was a testament to my strength and resilience, and I was committed to continuing this journey with an open heart and a positive outlook. The meeting with Tom had been a surprising development, but I was ready to focus on my future and the positive changes I had been making with Laura. Life seemed to be moving in a direction of stability and growth, and I was optimistic about what lay ahead. But as often happens, life has another twist in store. A few weeks after I met with Tom, I received an unexpected phone call. It was from a lawyer's office, and the message was brief but intriguing. There was a legal matter related to the recent business activities of Tom that required my attention. The lawyer wanted to discuss potential implications for me. Curious and slightly apprehensive, I arranged a meeting with the lawyer, whose office was located in a sleek high-rise downtown. When I arrived, the lawyer, Mr. Green, greeted me with a professional demeanor and led me into his office. "Mr. Adams," he began, "I appreciate you coming in. I'm here to discuss some recent developments involving Tom's new business venture. It appears there are legal claims against him that could have broader implications." Mr. Green proceeded to explain that Tom's new business, while initially appearing successful, was under investigation for financial misconduct. There were allegations of fraud, and some of the practices he was involved in were under scrutiny by authorities. The investigation revealed that Tom had used deceptive tactics that indirectly impacted several people, including myself, due to his past actions. "This isn't just about business practices," Mr. Green continued. "There are also concerns that Tom may have tried to manipulate or influence the outcome of the investigation by reaching out to individuals he had wronged, including you." The revelation was shocking. The idea that Tom's attempts at making amends might be part of a larger scheme to mitigate his legal troubles was unsettling. It made me question the authenticity of his recent efforts and whether his apology had been sincere or merely a strategic move. Mr. Green handed me a document outlining the details of the case and advised me to stay informed and possibly consider my legal standing in the situation. The complexity of the case and its potential implications for me were overwhelming. I left the meeting with a heavy heart, feeling a renewed sense of uncertainty. When I returned home, Laura noticed my distress and asked about the meeting. I explained the situation, detailing the legal concerns and the potential connection to Tom's recent business activities. Her support was unwavering, and she encouraged me to approach the situation with caution and to seek further advice if needed. With Laura's encouragement, I decided to consult with my lawyer to understand the potential impact on my life and to determine the best course of action. The legal landscape was complex, and I needed to ensure that I was protected from any possible repercussions. As I navigated the legal complexities, I received additional information from Mr. Green. It appeared that Tom was cooperating with the authorities and trying to resolve the allegations against him. However, the situation was fluid, and it was uncertain how it would ultimately unfold. In the meantime, I continued to focus on my personal growth and my relationship with Laura. The legal troubles surrounding Tom were a reminder of the unpredictable nature of life and the importance of maintaining perspective. While the situation was challenging, I was determined to face it head-on and to protect my interests. The unforeseen twist had added a layer of complexity to my journey, but it also reinforced my resolve to move forward with integrity and resilience. I continued to build on the positive aspects of my life, cherishing the support of Laura and the progress I had made in my personal and professional endeavors. As the legal situation developed, I remained vigilant and prepared to address any issues that might arise. The experience had taught me the importance of staying informed and proactive, and I was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead with the strength and clarity I had gained from my journey. The chapter of my life was evolving, and while the path was not without obstacles, I remained committed to forging a future defined by growth, understanding, and resilience. The unforeseen twist was a testament to the unpredictability of life, but it also reinforced the value of perseverance and the importance of staying true to oneself amidst adversity. As the initial excitement of new beginnings began to settle, I found myself confronting a more nuanced and challenging aspect of moving on: the struggle of letting go. Despite the progress I had made, lingering emotions and unresolved issues from my past marriage continued to affect me in unexpected ways. One of the biggest hurdles was dealing with the residual anger and hurt from Megan's betrayal. Even though I had decided to move forward, there were moments when the pain felt as fresh as it had been at the time of the divorce. I had to grapple with the realization that healing was not a linear process, and there were days when the past seemed to intrude upon my present. I began to notice that some of my reactions and feelings were rooted in unresolved issues from my marriage. Triggers from past experiences would occasionally resurface, causing emotional setbacks. For instance, certain situations or conversations would remind me of the betrayal, leading to moments of frustration and sadness. Recognizing these triggers became an important part of my healing process, and I worked to address them with mindfulness and self-compassion. Therapy continued to be a crucial support in navigating these challenges. My therapist helped me explore the deeper emotions associated with letting go, including feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. We worked together on strategies for managing these emotions and building resilience. One of the key takeaways was the importance of acknowledging and validating my feelings, rather than suppressing or dismissing them. Another challenge was dealing with the remnants of shared experiences and memories from my past marriage. The process of moving out of the home Megan and I had shared was emotionally charged. Sorting through belongings, deciding what to keep or let go, and coming to terms with the physical space that had been a part of our life together was a significant part of the letting go process. I also faced the challenge of navigating interactions with Megan. Although our relationship had changed, there were still practical matters to address, such as finalizing the division of assets and handling logistical details. Maintaining a civil and respectful communication style was essential, but it also required emotional effort to manage feelings of resentment and frustration that occasionally surfaced. As I continued to work through these challenges, I sought comfort in practices that helped me stay grounded. Mindfulness and meditation became valuable tools for managing stress and maintaining emotional balance. Engaging in regular physical activity, such as jogging and yoga, also provided a positive outlet for processing emotions and maintaining mental health. Social connections played a key role in supporting my journey of letting go. Friends and family provided a sense of stability and encouragement during moments of vulnerability. Their support was a reminder that I was not alone in this process, and that there was value in leaning on those who cared about me. The journey of letting go was a complex and ongoing process. It involved confronting lingering emotions, managing triggers, and navigating the practical aspects of moving on. Despite the difficulties, I remained committed to the process of healing and self-discovery. Each step forward, no matter how small, was a testament to my resilience and determination to build a future that was aligned with my desires and values. Ultimately, letting go was about finding a balance between honoring the past and embracing the future. It was a journey of self-compassion, growth, and acceptance, and it required a willingness to face the challenges head-on while remaining hopeful about the possibilities that lay ahead. As I continued to navigate the aftermath of my divorce, I found myself facing another significant challenge: rebuilding trust in new relationships. The experiences of betrayal and emotional pain from my previous marriage had left me wary, and learning to trust again was a complex and gradual process. Dating after a divorce brought its own set of hurdles. My past experiences had made me more cautious, and I was determined to approach new relationships with a sense of awareness and integrity. The initial excitement of meeting someone new was tempered by the need to establish a foundation of trust and openness. One of the first steps in rebuilding trust was to communicate openly about my past experiences. I found it important to be honest with potential partners about my journey and the lessons I had learned. This transparency helped set realistic expectations and fostered an environment of mutual understanding. I also learned to be more discerning in choosing who to invest my time and emotions in. The process of dating became more about finding compatibility and shared values rather than simply seeking companionship. I focused on building relationships with individuals who demonstrated integrity, respect, and emotional maturity. One of the key aspects of rebuilding trust was understanding and managing my fears and insecurities. I worked to identify and address any tendencies to project past issues onto new relationships. This involved recognizing when past experiences were influencing my current perceptions and making a conscious effort to separate them. Building trust in new relationships also requires patience. It was essential to give each relationship time to develop naturally and not rush into deeper commitments before trust had been established. I found that taking small, incremental steps allowed me to gauge the reliability and sincerity of my partners. In addition to personal efforts, I sought feedback from friends and family. Their perspectives provided valuable insights into my approach to new relationships and helped me stay grounded. They offered support and advice, helping me navigate the complexities of dating with a balanced view. As I engaged in new relationships, I made a concerted effort to practice vulnerability and openness. Allowing myself to be vulnerable, while also being mindful of my boundaries, was a crucial step in building authentic connections. It required a delicate balance between sharing personal experiences and maintaining self-protection. Over time, I began to notice positive changes in my approach to relationships. The process of rebuilding trust was ongoing, but each positive experience reinforced my ability to trust again. I learned to appreciate the value of meaningful connections and the importance of nurturing relationships built on mutual respect and understanding. While the journey of rebuilding trust was not without its challenges, it was also a rewarding experience. Each new relationship brought opportunities for growth and self-discovery. I learned that trust could be rebuilt and that new beginnings could offer the possibility of a fulfilling and meaningful connection. As I continued to explore new relationships and build trust, I remained committed to maintaining a healthy perspective. I embraced the process with an open heart, knowing that each step forward was a testament to my resilience and capacity for growth. The journey of rebuilding trust was an integral part of moving forward and creating a future filled with meaningful and authentic connections. As I moved forward from the end of my marriage and the trials of rebuilding trust, I began to focus on a crucial aspect of my journey: embracing personal growth. This phase was about more than just adapting to a new life. It was about transforming myself and my life in meaningful ways. Personal growth started with a deep self-reflection. I spent time evaluating who I was and who I wanted to become. This self-assessment was both enlightening and challenging, as it required me to confront my strengths and weaknesses, acknowledge my past mistakes, and envision a future that was aligned with my true self. One of the most significant changes was adopting a mindset of continuous learning. I enrolled in courses and workshops that interested me, ranging from creative writing to public speaking. Engaging in new learning experiences not only expanded my skills but also helped me build confidence and a sense of accomplishment. These activities became a source of joy and fulfillment, providing me with new avenues for self-expression and growth. Physical well-being also became a priority. I realized that taking care of my body was integral to my overall sense of well-being. I incorporated regular exercise into my routine, including activities like hiking, swimming, and strength training. This focus on physical health improved my energy levels, mood, and overall outlook on life. It was a tangible reminder of the positive changes I was making and a way to celebrate my progress. In addition to physical health, I made a conscious effort to cultivate mental and emotional resilience. Practices such as meditation and mindfulness became important tools for managing stress and maintaining a balanced perspective. These practices helped me stay grounded and focused, allowing me to navigate life's challenges with greater ease. Volunteering and giving back to the community also became central to my journey of personal growth. I found fulfillment in contributing to causes I cared about and making a positive impact on the lives of others. Whether it was through mentoring, participating in community service projects, or supporting charitable organizations, these activities provided a sense of purpose and connection. Building new relationships and strengthening existing ones played a key role in my personal growth. I made an effort to surround myself with positive, supportive people who encouraged my development and shared my values. These relationships enriched my life and provided a network of support and encouragement. As I continued to embrace personal growth, I also learned to set and pursue meaningful goals. I established personal and professional objectives that reflected my values and aspirations. Whether it was advancing in my career, exploring new passions, or achieving personal milestones, these goals provided direction and motivation. Through this journey, I came to understand that personal growth is a continuous process. It involves embracing change, learning from experiences, and remaining open to new possibilities. The challenges and successes along the way became valuable lessons, shaping me into a more resilient and self-aware individual. Embracing personal growth was not just about moving on from the past, it was about creating a life that was fulfilling and authentic. It required me to be proactive, intentional, and open to change. As I continued to grow and evolve, I felt a renewed sense of purpose and optimism. The journey of personal growth was a testament to my strength and resilience, and it paved the way for a future filled with potential and promise. As I continued to navigate my new life, I realized that finding closure was a crucial step in fully moving on from the past. The end of my marriage, though a necessary decision, left a lingering sense of unfinished business that I needed to address to truly embrace the future. The concept of closure was complex and deeply personal. It wasn't just about tying up loose ends. It was about achieving a sense of emotional resolution and peace with what had transpired. I began to consider what closure meant for me and how I could achieve it in a way that was authentic and meaningful. One of the first steps was to have a final, honest conversation with Megan. We met in a neutral setting to discuss the end of our marriage and reflect on our shared experiences. The conversation was emotionally charged but necessary. It allowed us both to express our feelings, acknowledge the impact of our actions, and find a sense of mutual understanding. During this conversation, I expressed my gratitude for the positive aspects of our relationship and the lessons I had learned from it. Megan, in turn, offered her apologies and shared her reflections on the past. This exchange provided a sense of closure by allowing us to address unresolved feelings and move forward with a sense of resolution. In addition to this personal conversation, I also sought closure through writing. I wrote letters to Megan, not necessarily to send, but to articulate my feelings and reflections. Writing became a therapeutic process, helping me to process my emotions and gain clarity. It allowed me to express thoughts that I might not have been able to vocalize and provided a sense of release. Another aspect of finding closure involved revisiting and reflecting on the key moments of my past relationship. I took time to review old photos, letters, and mementos, not to dwell on the past, but to acknowledge and honor the journey. This reflection helped me appreciate the good times and understand the full scope of my experiences. I also worked on forgiving myself. I realized that holding on to guilt or regret from the past was counterproductive. Accepting that mistakes had been made and that I had done my best with the information and emotions I had at the time was an important step. Self-forgiveness allowed me to release lingering feelings of self-blame and move forward with a more compassionate view of myself. As I pursued closure, I also focused on creating new rituals and habits that symbolized the beginning of a new chapter. I redesigned my living space to reflect my tastes and aspirations, and I established new traditions that resonated with my current values and goals. These changes helped reinforce the sense of a fresh start and a new direction in my life. The process of finding closure was gradual and multifaceted. It required me to confront difficult emotions, engage in meaningful reflection, and make intentional changes. Each step contributed to a sense of resolution and allowed me to let go of the past with dignity and self-respect. Ultimately, finding closure was about achieving a sense of peace and readiness to embrace the future. It was a crucial part of moving on and creating a life that was aligned with my values and desires. As I reached this point, I felt a renewed sense of clarity and purpose, ready to face the future with a hopeful and open heart. As I ventured deeper into my new life, I realized the importance of reconnecting with old friends. These relationships, often neglected during the turmoil of my marriage, had always been a source of support and joy. Rebuilding these connections became a meaningful part of my journey toward a renewed sense of belonging and fulfillment. I began by reaching out to friends I hadn't spoken to in years. Crafting thoughtful messages and making phone calls, I expressed my desire to reconnect and catch up. I was met with warmth and enthusiasm, which reinforced the value of these relationships and reminded me of the strong bonds we once shared. One of the first friends I reached out to was Mark, a college buddy with whom I had lost touch over the years. Our conversations quickly picked up where they had left off, filled with laughter and shared memories. Mark's support and understanding provided a comforting reminder of the connections that had always been there, even if we hadn't been in frequent contact. Reconnecting with old friends also involved attending social gatherings and events. I made an effort to participate in reunions, community activities, and casual meetups. These events offered opportunities to reconnect in person and rebuild relationships through shared experiences. Each interaction helped reestablish a sense of camaraderie and contributed to my feeling of connectedness. During these reunions, I was able to share my journey and listen to the stories of others. These exchanges provided perspective and insight, highlighting the diverse paths that life takes. I found comfort in knowing that I wasn't alone in facing challenges, and that everyone had their own unique experiences of growth and change. In addition to rekindling old friendships, I also sought to deepen these connections by being present and engaged. I made an effort to actively listen, offer support, and participate in meaningful conversations. These actions helped strengthen the bonds and demonstrated my commitment to nurturing these relationships. Reconnecting with old friends also involved revisiting shared interests and activities. I joined a book club that several friends were part of, rekindling a passion for reading and discussion. Participating in this group not only provided intellectual stimulation, but also facilitated deeper connections with friends who shared similar interests. Through this process, I realized the importance of maintaining and nurturing relationships. The friends I reconnected with played a significant role in supporting me through my transition and offering a sense of stability and continuity. Their presence reminded me of the value of community and the joy of meaningful connections. As I continued to rebuild my social network, I was also mindful of creating new friendships and relationships. While reconnecting with old friends was important, it was equally valuable to meet new people and expand my circle. This balance of old and new relationships enriched my life and contributed to a sense of fulfillment. Reconnecting with old friends was a vital step in my journey of self-discovery and renewal. It reinforced the significance of community and support in navigating life's challenges. The renewed connections brought joy, comfort, and a sense of belonging, enriching my life as I continued to embrace new beginnings and opportunities. With the past firmly behind me and a renewed sense of self from reconnecting with old friends and finding closure, I turned my attention to pursuing new goals. This phase was about setting new aspirations and striving towards them with purpose and determination. It was a time to focus on personal and professional growth, building on the lessons learned from the past. I started by identifying what truly mattered to me. I took stock of my interests, values, and passions, and used them as a foundation for setting new goals. This process involved deep self-reflection and an honest assessment of what I wanted to achieve moving forward. It was a time to dream big and envision a future that aligned with my newfound sense of self. One of my primary goals was to advance in my career. I evaluated my professional aspirations and identified areas for growth. I pursued additional training and certifications that were relevant to my field, aiming to enhance my skills and increase my opportunities for advancement. I also sought mentorship from professionals I admired, gaining valuable insights and guidance on navigating my career path. In addition to professional goals, I focused on personal development. I set objectives for personal enrichment, such as improving my physical fitness, learning new skills, and exploring new hobbies. I enrolled in cooking classes, started a blog to document my experiences and reflections, and committed to regular exercise. These activities provided a sense of accomplishment and joy, contributing to my overall well-being. Setting financial goals was also an important aspect of this phase. I created a budget and savings plan to ensure financial stability and achieve long-term objectives. Whether it was saving for a vacation, investing in a new project, or planning for future security, managing my finances with intention was a crucial step in pursuing a stable and fulfilling future. Networking and building professional relationships were integral to my goal-setting process. I attended industry events, joined professional organizations, and actively engaged with peers and colleagues. These interactions not only provided opportunities for career growth, but also helped me stay informed about industry trends and developments. One of the most significant goals I set was to cultivate a balanced and fulfilling lifestyle. I aimed to create harmony between work, personal interests, and social connections. This involved prioritizing self-care, setting boundaries, and ensuring that I dedicated time to activities that brought me joy and satisfaction. As I pursued these new goals, I encountered challenges and setbacks. Some objectives required more time and effort than anticipated, and there were moments of frustration and doubt. However, I remained committed to my vision and approached these obstacles with resilience and adaptability. Each challenge provided an opportunity for growth and learning. Celebrating achievements, both big and small, became a key part of the process. I took time to acknowledge my progress and reward myself for reaching milestones. Whether it was completing a project, reaching a fitness goal, or simply making it through a challenging week, recognizing and celebrating these successes helped maintain motivation and enthusiasm. Pursuing new goals was a transformative and empowering experience. It allowed me to focus on the future with optimism and determination, creating a sense of purpose and direction. The process of setting and achieving goals reinforced my belief in my capabilities and potential, paving the way for a fulfilling and dynamic life. As I continued on this path, I embraced the journey with excitement, knowing that each step forward brought me closer to realizing my aspirations and dreams. As I continued to navigate the complexities of my new life, I found that embracing the power of forgiveness was essential for my ongoing healing and growth. Forgiveness, both toward others and myself, became a crucial component in my journey of moving forward and finding inner peace. The process of forgiving Megan was particularly challenging. The betrayal and hurt I had experienced were profound, and letting go of the anger and resentment was not an easy task. However, I understood that holding on to these negative emotions was hindering my growth and happiness. I realized that forgiveness was not about condoning or excusing the past, but about freeing myself from the burden of lingering negativity. To work toward forgiveness, I began by acknowledging and processing my emotions. I took time to reflect on how the betrayal had affected me and identified the underlying pain and anger. This self-awareness allowed me to confront my feelings rather than suppress them. It was a process of understanding that my emotional response was valid and needed to be addressed. I also sought to understand Megan's perspective, not to justify her actions, but to gain insight into the circumstances that led to our situation. This exercise in empathy helped me view the situation from a broader perspective and provided a sense of closure. Understanding the complexities of our relationship and the factors that contributed to its end allowed me to approach forgiveness with a more balanced view. Forgiving myself was another critical aspect of this journey. I had to confront any feelings of guilt or self-blame associated with the end of my marriage. Recognizing that I had done my best with the information and emotions I had at the time was an important step. Self-forgiveness involved accepting that mistakes were part of my growth and that I deserved compassion and understanding. To facilitate this process, I engaged in self-compassion practices. I reminded myself of my strengths, achievements, and the positive aspects of my character. By focusing on my qualities and efforts, I was able to shift my perspective from self-criticism to self-acceptance. This practice helped me release feelings of inadequacy and embrace a more positive self-view. Another important element of forgiveness was letting go of the need for an apology or acknowledgement from others. I realized that my healing was not dependent on external validation, but on my willingness to move forward. Releasing this expectation allowed me to find peace within myself and continue my journey without being tethered to the past. The process of forgiveness also involved making a conscious choice to focus on the present and future rather than dwelling on past grievances. By redirecting my energy toward positive and constructive activities, I was able to build a life that was aligned with my values and aspirations. This shift in focus reinforced my commitment to personal growth and happiness. Forgiveness was not a one-time event, but an ongoing process. It required continuous effort and reflection, and there were times when old emotions resurfaced. Each time this happened, I approached it with renewed compassion and understanding, reinforcing my commitment to letting go and moving forward. As I embraced the power of forgiveness, I found that it brought a sense of liberation and relief. It allowed me to release the emotional weight of the past and create space for new experiences and relationships. Forgiveness became a powerful tool in my journey of self-discovery and renewal, helping me build a future that was free from the constraints of past pain. Ultimately, the power of forgiveness was about finding peace and healing within myself. It was a crucial step in moving forward and creating a life that was defined by resilience, compassion, and hope. As I continued on this path, I carried with me the understanding that forgiveness was a gift I gave myself, enabling me to embrace the future with an open heart and a positive outlook. As I reached the final stages of my journey through personal transformation and healing, I faced the exciting and hopeful prospect of embracing a new beginning. This chapter marked the culmination of my efforts to rebuild my life, redefine my identity, and set the stage for a future filled with possibility and growth. Embracing a new beginning involved envisioning and creating a future that reflected my true self and aspirations. I took time to articulate my goals and dreams, focusing on what I wanted to achieve and how I wanted to live my life. This vision became a guiding light, helping me make decisions and take actions that were aligned with my values and desires. One of the first steps in this new chapter was to take stock of my achievements and progress. Reflecting on the growth and changes I had undergone provided a sense of accomplishment and motivation. I celebrated the milestones I had reached, acknowledging the effort and resilience that had brought me to this point. This reflection reinforced my confidence and readiness to embrace the future. I also focused on cultivating a positive mindset. Embracing a new beginning required me to approach life with optimism and openness. I practiced gratitude, regularly acknowledging the things I was thankful for and the positive aspects of my life. This practice helped me maintain a hopeful perspective and stay grounded in the present moment. Creating new routines and habits was another important aspect of this transition. I established daily practices that supported my well-being and personal growth. This included maintaining a balanced schedule, setting aside time for self-care, and pursuing activities that brought me joy and fulfillment. These routines provided a sense of stability and purpose as I embarked on this new phase of life. Building and nurturing new relationships also played a key role in this process. I actively sought to connect with people who shared my interests and values, expanding my social circle and creating meaningful connections. These new relationships provided support, inspiration, and companionship, enriching my life and contributing to a sense of community and belonging. In addition to personal growth, I focused on pursuing new opportunities and experiences. Whether it was exploring new career paths, traveling to new places, or engaging in creative projects, I embraced the chance to step out of my comfort zone and discover new facets of myself. Each new experience added depth and excitement to my life, reinforcing my sense of adventure and curiosity. As I embraced this new beginning, I also remained mindful of the importance of resilience and adaptability. Life is filled with unexpected changes and challenges, and approaching these with a flexible and positive attitude is essential. I practice staying open to new possibilities and adapting to shifting circumstances with grace and optimism. This chapter of embracing a new beginning was not just about starting over, it was about creating a life that was authentic and fulfilling. It involved integrating the lessons learned from my past and applying them to build a future that was rich with meaning and purpose. Each step forward was a testament to my growth and commitment to living a life that was true to myself. Ultimately, embracing a new beginning was about celebrating the possibilities of the future and welcoming the journey ahead with an open heart. It was a chance to build on the foundation of my past experiences and create a life that was vibrant, meaningful, and aligned with my aspirations. As I stepped into this new chapter, I carried with me the strength, wisdom, and resilience that had shaped my journey, ready to embrace the future with hope and excitement. As I settled into my new life and embraced the opportunities before me, I realized it was essential to periodically reassess my journey. Reflecting on my experiences, understanding the progress I had made, and evaluating my current path were crucial steps in ensuring that I remained aligned with my goals and values. Reassessing my journey began with a thorough review of the changes I had undergone. I took time to reflect on the transformative experiences that had shaped my path, from the end of my marriage and the challenges of rebuilding trust to the efforts of personal growth and the power of forgiveness. This reflection helped me appreciate the depth of my journey and the strength I had gained. I also evaluated my current goals and aspirations. What had I achieved, and what remained to be done? Were my goals still relevant, or had my priorities shifted? This reassessment allowed me to adjust my objectives and ensure that my efforts were focused on areas that were most meaningful to me. It was an opportunity to realign my actions with my evolving vision for the future. One key aspect of this reassessment was acknowledging my progress and celebrating successes. I made a list of accomplishments, both big and small, and took time to recognize and appreciate the milestones I had reached. This practice reinforced my sense of achievement and motivated to continue pursuing my goals. I also sought feedback from trusted friends and mentors. Their perspectives offered valuable insights into my journey and helped me see aspects I might have overlooked. Engaging in open conversations with those who knew me well provided a broader view of my progress and offered constructive suggestions for further growth. Another important part of reassessing my journey involved evaluating my current relationships and social network. I considered the impact of these connections on my well-being and personal growth. Were my relationships supportive and fulfilling? Were there any adjustments needed to ensure that my social circle was aligned with my values and goals? I also took stock of my habits and routines. Were they contributing positively to my life, or were there areas that needed improvement? I assessed my daily practices and made any necessary adjustments to ensure that they supported my overall well-being and personal development. Reassessing my journey included revisiting my emotional and mental health. I checked in with myself to gauge how I was feeling and whether I needed additional support or resources. This self-awareness allowed me to address any issues promptly and ensure that I was maintaining a healthy and balanced mindset. As part of this reassessment, I set new short-term and long-term goals. I established clear objectives and action plans to guide my efforts moving forward. This process helped me stay focused and motivated, providing a sense of direction and purpose as I continued to build on my achievements. Reflecting on my journey also involved considering my future aspirations and dreams. I took time to envision where I wanted to be in the coming years and how I could continue to grow and evolve. This forward-looking perspective helped me stay inspired and proactive in pursuing new opportunities. Reassessing my journey was an ongoing process that required honesty, self-awareness, and adaptability. It allowed me to stay connected to my goals and values, make necessary adjustments, and continue moving forward with purpose and clarity. This practice of reflection and evaluation ensured that I remained on a path that was both fulfilling and aligned with my true self. Ultimately, reassessing my journey was about celebrating progress, addressing challenges, and staying committed to personal growth. It was a way to honor the work I had done and to embrace the future with confidence and optimism. As I continued on this path, I remained dedicated to learning, growing, and evolving, ready to embrace the next chapter of my life with enthusiasm and hope. With my journey of personal growth, healing, and reassessment behind me, I reached a pivotal moment, moving forward with confidence. This final chapter was about applying everything I had learned and experienced to step into the future with assurance and purpose. Moving forward with confidence required a strong sense of self-belief and clarity. I took time to reinforce the lessons I had learned throughout my journey, reminding myself of my strengths, resilience, and the progress I had made. This self-awareness provided a solid foundation as I looked ahead to new opportunities and challenges. One of the key elements of this transition was setting clear intentions for the future. I crafted a vision statement that articulated my goals, values, and aspirations. This statement served as a guiding principle, helping me stay focused on what truly mattered and providing direction as I made decisions and pursued new endeavors. I also embraced a proactive mindset. Rather than waiting for opportunities to come to me, I actively sought out new experiences and challenges. I set ambitious but achievable goals and took deliberate steps to pursue them. Whether it was exploring new career prospects, engaging in creative projects, or expanding my social network, I approached each opportunity with enthusiasm and determination. Building on the resilience I had developed, I prepared to face any obstacles that might arise with a positive attitude. I acknowledged that setbacks and challenges were a natural part of life, but committed to handling them with grace and perseverance. This mindset allowed me to approach difficulties as opportunities for growth rather than as roadblocks. Another important aspect of moving forward with confidence was maintaining a balanced perspective. I continued to practice gratitude and mindfulness, ensuring that I remained grounded and appreciative of the present moment. This balance helped me stay centered and focused, preventing me from becoming overwhelmed by future uncertainties. I also nurtured the relationships and connections that had supported me throughout my journey. These relationships provided a source of encouragement and stability as I navigated new experiences. I made an effort to stay engaged with my support network, sharing my successes and seeking advice when needed. These connections were a vital part of my ongoing growth and confidence. Embracing new challenges and experiences became a key focus. I viewed each new endeavor as a chance to learn, grow, and expand my horizons. Whether it was taking on a new project, traveling to unfamiliar places, or trying out new activities, I approached these experiences with an open mind and a willingness to embrace the unknown. As I moved forward, I remained committed to continuous learning and self-improvement. I sought out opportunities for personal and professional development, including workshops, courses, and mentorship. This commitment to growth ensured that I stayed informed and engaged, ready to adapt to new trends and opportunities. Ultimately, moving forward with confidence was about embracing the future with a sense of purpose and excitement. It involved applying the lessons of the past, staying true to my values, and actively pursuing my goals. This proactive and positive approach enabled me to build a life that was fulfilling, dynamic, and aligned with my aspirations. As I stepped into this new phase of life, I carried with me the strength, wisdom, and resilience that had shaped my journey. Moving forward with confidence was not just about facing the future with assurance, but about creating a life that was rich with meaning and possibility. With a renewed sense of purpose and a positive outlook, I embraced the future with enthusiasm, ready to navigate whatever lay ahead with grace and determination.